please don't stop watching. Hear me out, okay? It's gonna be awesome. Hear me out. Okay, you guys probably haven't really seen much of my yard before, but this is where I keep some of my crap, my biodiesel processor, which I never ended up doing much with. I'll show you guys my secret car. My daughter calls this my daddy's secret car. My wife didn't even know I had this. But I have a 1948 Chevy Fleetmaster. Toss-up because it's a beautiful car, but it needs so much work. I don't know if I want the hundreds of hours that I need to invest in this car, but it also comes with a pile of new parts. It's in really bad shape, but it's in better shape than the 4-door that we had.
You know, everybody takes the gamble of what it's truly gonna be. There's a lot of stuff hid on these old vehicles.
All right, so you guys know that we swap anything and everything into places that they're not supposed to be. And what kind of channel would we be if we didn't dabble into electric? There's a lot of things to owning a EV that I do not think are a positive, but we're still gonna build it. Morning. Morning, sunshine.
You know, I'm not normally up this early for work.
Well, welcome to the real world. We are gonna go grab this 48 Fleetmaster convertible in the rain. So this 48 Fleetmaster, we were coming home from the car show, right? We took RT Baker to a car show. We thought, oh, we'll drive through the country. There's a Style Master sitting in the weeds. So we thought, well, I need a couple pieces of trim, so stop in, take a look. The owner wasn't there, he doesn't live there, but the neighbor said, oh, you gotta check this car he's got in the barn, you might be able to check it out. So we got a hold of the old guy, and he showed us this convertible. And the story is that he's owned it for 43 years, hasn't actually ever done anything with it, which is a shame. Like, it's a beautiful car. He wants to build the car now. I think he's seen our Fleetmaster, and he wants to get his going. But at the same time, at this point, is it really worth throwing 50 grand into a car to?
You know, it's like yeah, I don't have a wife or kids, so I see this as being totally justified.
Yeah, anyway, we'll see what happens today. It doesn't say what it is, it's just a chrome badge.
Found a skull.
I bet you every single linkage is seized.
Sounds like a candidate for a Cummins swap.
It's a toss-up because it's a beautiful car, but it needs so much work. You could put acetone and ATF in there and see if you could unseize it. And find an oil gallery and just pump oil pressure through it, just get oil everywhere. There's no way you could ever think that that engine's gonna be reliable.
I wouldn't do that too much.
Yeah. Stay to the edges. Careful with that ring though.
Oh crap, it's heavy.
Yeah. This whole thing is just one bad storm from falling down. I was saying to Rich too, I want one of those really old license plates up there, so I'm hoping he can get one down for me.
Oh, it's so gross. I got it.
Yeah.
That's cool. On all these pieces, this is the trim.
It's actually in better shape than the other one. It's got the right age to it, that's for sure. Old rusty stuff.
You don't?
Oh, it's raining down here.
just like that beam is
Yeah, I see it.
like aiming right for me. So.
Yeah, I'm good though.
How come all the neat stuff is on the second floor? It's really dangerous. Oh, pull it on the trailer, pull it outside, take a look.
All wheels turn.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The drums usually don't stick as bad as the disc brakes. The disc brakes just seem to clamp on in one spot. So what do you think?
I think that car is going to need a lot of work.
Well, we knew that, but Haggerty puts that car at 50,000 when it's done. The biggest thing is that car is not complete.
You know, and that motor will never run.
No, but like the motor's not a big deal. They use those 216s and everything, so you can buy another project for $1,000 with a running engine. I've seen one just the other day, $1,300 with a running 216 in it.
So already dead animals attacking that car. It's a good omen.
Yeah, I don't think it was worth losing sleep over.
Or getting up before the sun was out. Not doing that for another 10 years.
So that's about how long it's gonna take to fix this car anyway, so I think we're all right.
Here we go.
Yeah, hey, that's my line. I'm so torn about the car. Don't know what to do. What do you think I should do?
I don't know. It looks like a lot of money.
So our convertible is in a sad state of affairs. Talked with the owner yesterday, and for now we're gonna leave this one alone. It is just too far gone. We're looking into a one-piece floor, but they make them for a 49 and not a 48. That rocker will work. I do have one more, but my floor pieces are different. The sections that I had in my fleet line, they're not the right ones. But there is oil in the engine. It's actually clean, and there is oil in the transmission, so it's seized. But it's actually pretty decent underneath the rocker cover, and I pulled the spark plugs, and they don't look terrible either. There's one that's pretty bad. This is the worst one. That being said, this engine hasn't turned over in 43 years. Not that I'm ever going to fix this engine up, but I do kind of want to see if I can get it running after 43 years of not running. We pulled the spark plugs, put our acetone and ATF mix in there. We'll let that sit for a week. Then I pulled an oil plug at the back. Find an oil gallery, and then this is an old jet pump just for like house plumbing. So what it is a bladder that goes in the one side, and your water would go in here, and then the rest of the tank is pressurized. So we'll put this bladder in there. I'm gonna start with a thin oil. Now this two-stroke oil has been around for a while, probably not very much good anymore. So I'm gonna put the oil in the bladder, and then I've got the lid here that just goes right over top. And then we'll just pressurize the back, and without the engine running, we'll lube everything up. So once we've got a valve in the back, we'll just pressurize that with about 20, 30 pounds, and we'll sit for an hour or two, and then we'll put some more oil in there. And I do kind of want to wait and see if we could actually get oil pressure up to the cam, but that might be asking a bit much. So it's been sitting for a week. And all I did was there's two threaded bolts, threaded holes for bolts in the front pulley. Just took a big bar, drilled 2 holes through it, and bolted it to it. And I got it to move just that. You can see it's moving. Now the engine's not seized anymore. I'm not going to turn it over any more than that. We'll drain the oil, put it back in there, lube it up again, and then I'll see if I can spin it all the way around. Whatever's sitting in that little spot, that little bit of crap was sitting around the rings. We don't want to score that all the way up and down. So we'll lube it up, we'll fill the cylinders up again. I think that starter is shot, so we got to pull the starter off. I'll try the one on the parts car there, maybe that one's good, and see if we can get it cranking over, but I'm pretty confident we can get this running, so here we go. Okay, so after messing with the 216 for a while, I realized that only the pulley was moving and not the crankshaft. We ended up shearing the keyway on that, and that's when we decided to stop and just keep going with the rest of the build. That 216, unfortunately, is toast. I was really excited about this convertible, seeing it in the barn, but when we pulled it out, it is actually pretty rough. It is a neat car, but I don't know if I want the hundreds of hours that I need to invest in this car. But it also comes with a pile of new parts, new brakes, slave, master, brake lines, all the shoes, chrome pieces, rubbers, NOS, front fenders, NOS, rear fenders. Those fenders have never been used or properly installed. A whole pile of spare parts with it. I traded this for the 48 Fleetmaster that I built. Took it in on trade. For now, I'm gonna reassemble it with all the NOS pieces. Empty her out, lay the parts out, blow it off, vacuum it off, go from there. Ay, ay, ay. All right, we're on our way to a dealership in Ottawa, which is about 300 miles from our house. We're gonna go pick up our new donor car, and we have to float it back because it physically can't make the trip home. It has a range of 94 kilometers. Seems like pretty stupid, but anyway, I'm pretty excited about this project. Okay, so it's on. That's pretty cool. So D. That's pretty cool. So here's the story with the Leaf. There's a couple of reasons why we're going with a Leaf. It's a 110 horsepower engine, and it's a nice, neat, compact setup over the front tires. We're gonna put that in the back. It's convertible, so I don't need Tesla 400 horsepower. And as soon as you say Tesla, it's $10,000 for a smashed up wreck, meaning that we might still need parts, whatever. This is a fully running, functioning car, but we started out looking at smashed up Leafs. So we went on Copart, we found a smashed up one. So weird because it doesn't make a sound. There was one that kept coming up for auctions. It was still 6,500 bucks Canadian by the time we were done. So then I noticed this one online, fully working, and they were asking $7,000 for it. We got them down to 6,500, and then we found out incentives are available for used electric vehicles too. You get $1,000 back, and another $1,000 if you take an ICE off the road. So $2,000 cheaper. Nice sharp turning radius. Look at that. Like no vibrations, no sound. I'm actually really excited about this project. This is pretty cool. Although we did lose 10 kilometers driving 5 kilometers, so that's not good. All right, so you guys know that we swap anything and everything into places that they're not supposed to be. And what kind of channel would we be if we didn't dabble into electric? Now, let's get the politics of the electric out right away. Batteries are terrible for the environment. Scrapping the batteries, reusing them, it's terrible. The range sucks. All right, that's not why we're doing this swap. We're doing this swap because it makes sense for the 48 convertible. I don't need to go fast, I don't need to go far, I don't need to drive it often, and I want it to be quiet so I can enjoy it with my family. If I want to go fast, I'll drive the Audi or the GTO or the Mustang. If I want to be loud, I'll drive the Mustang or the C10. If I don't want my family with me, I'll drive any one of those because they're not that enjoyable for long trips. But I do want to enjoy the time in the convertible, going out for supper, going on a date night, going to the lake, grabbing a little picnic, and then driving home again, putting the car away, and not worrying about it for the next little bit. It's going to be an interesting series because we have to do a lot of modifying to make it fit. That doesn't actually just limit itself to an electric drivetrain. Here's what I mean. We've got a front end off of a Crown Vic. Kudos to Cletus. Now these are going skyrocketing in price, but luckily Stefan and I yanked this out of a Crown Vic that was at at V&R probably 3 years ago. It's been sitting in the weeds since. Then for the back end, we've got a G35 suspension. So let's get into that, why this makes sense for you.
All right, so this is a G35. I think if you go with a 350Z, this is all aluminum and is a lot lighter. And even though that's what we're after, building something as light as possible, this was a lot cheaper and we're probably gonna hack it up to pieces anyway. There was a lot of engineers and a lot of time behind a computer making calculations and that on the suspension and how it works that I am not going to mess with. As your arms go up, these bars get closer, things tilt as you're going around a corner, and that keeps your tire flat on the road. At the same time, this is the most comfortable because it's an IRS, independent rear suspension. So more than likely what we're gonna do, and I'm still turning things around in my head, is put this on a jig and weld the suspension in place. And then remove this center section. We're gonna take that electric setup, which is just a transmission. It's not really a transmission, it's gear reduction off of an electric motor, and then the battery management system on top of that. The engine and transmission will be in a cage that gets bolted to a frame. So we can drop the entire engine and transmit or motor. I gotta stop saying engine because it's a motor and everything else off the bottom of the car, and then go from there. This is actually the proper width as the convertible. So we're 69 inches to the outside of the tires that were on there, and that will fit nicely inside my quarters. The same thing with the front suspension. This is Crown Vic, and it is 4.5, 5 inches too wide. So because the motor is going in the trunk, there's not gonna be much weight on the front of this car. I'm comfortable with cutting 4 inches out and shortening this. We'll get rid of the steering, we'll keep the electric steering off of the Leaf, and then bolt that same fashion to a frame. We found a company who can mandrel bend aluminum for us. Basically the frame's gonna come out, it's gonna go wider so that we can bolt the Nissan Leaf batteries to the frame, and then narrow at the back and go up and over this suspension here. Another reason that we bought the Leaf is that the batteries are a lot narrower. They're in a nice package that is removable from the car, rather than a Tesla, which is like super flat all the way along the bottom. You put your car on top of that. You can't really change your widths that much. The Nissan battery can come out from underneath and get bolted right back to our new frame. And all the newer batteries are the same physical size. So if we don't have the range because it's an older Leaf and the concept works and we want to drive farther, we can invest in a larger capacity battery afterwards. So that would be a 24 kilowatt hour battery, and we're looking for eventually a 40 amp hour battery. Once we have the battery bolted to the bottom of the frame, we can put the convertible car on top of that, and then we're going to bend the floor to fit around the battery because it needs a new floor anyway. Once we have the floor in place, we can figure out interior. This entire dash is gonna go into the convertible as well. So basically we're taking all the guts out of that. Anything that has a wire and a plug is getting moved over to the convertible. The Crown Vic and the G35 both have a 114.3 millimeter by 5 bolt pattern. So the rims will work exactly the same. Brakes, we'll probably see if we can get an aftermarket company to do the brakes. And hopefully they're able to do something for both of those as well. Now the convertible, the specs, I haven't weighed it and all the pieces aren't in there, interior trim, whatever else. The engine and transmission are in there, but from what I read online, the convertible weighs 3,100 pounds. That Leaf weighs 3,400 pounds, so 300 pounds more, and the battery in that thing weighs 650 pounds. So what we're hoping to do is eliminate well, we're definitely eliminating the 216, the automatic transmission, the torque tube, the entire rear axle. We'll probably do lighter bumperettes or bumper holders for the front. Those are very heavy steel frames that hold that bumper in place. We can, I think, end up about the same weight as what the Leaf was, if not a little bit better. Now that might be ambitious, but that is our goal. We gotta have a goal in the beginning so that the range should be similar. The amount of speed and driving in that on the road is perfect for a convertible. It's peppy enough. It's actually very torquey. So the engine in that is 110 horsepower and the torque is about 250, I believe. The original 216 in that was 90 horsepower and just under 200 horse. So we're increasing about 30%, which should be a really nice fit for that car. It only makes sense. So this is it, 1948 Fleetmaster convertible. In 1948, they made 250,000 Fleetmasters, 4-door, 2-doors, the wagons, and the convertibles. Of the 250,000, about 20,000 were convertible, and the only more rare car than this was the Woody wagon, which they made about 10,000 of. So put that in perspective, the GTO that we have, 67 GTO is a pretty rare car. They made 60,000 of those. So there's not too many of these left. The issue is that we got a pile of missing pieces that's gonna cost a fortune to bring back to original. We rebuilt a 4-door version of this car, the exact same car, and the drive line on that was completely rebuilt already. So we did the body to it, and then realizing that it is an extremely difficult car to drive. Top speed is about 70 kilometers an hour, which is only about 45, 50 miles an hour. So you go for a nice little cruise to town, and before you know it, you got 20 cars behind you that are not rude enough to honk at you, but are pissed off enough that you're holding up traffic. So when I got the car, when I traded it in, I was really stuck on what to do with it until now. As you can see, the fenders are NOS, so they've never been on the road before, and this is just surface rust that will get sandblasted off. The grill, we have part of the grill re-chromed. We need to re-chrome the center grill. So if you guys know of a place to get re-chroming done, definitely comment down below. All this trim is missing, so we'll probably weld the holes shut and smooth that out. And the interior is completely gone. There is nothing left of this. We can't fix this. It's just not worth it. Again, NOS fenders at the back. They bolt to the car right here, and the moisture sits in between, so this is completely rotten, so we need to fix that. The trunk needs some work. I don't think it's bolted on, but it's in better shape than the 4-door was. I had to go back and watch our video when we took this thing apart and kind of assessed it, and it's in really bad shape, but it's in better shape than the 4-door that we had. Reworked the whole thing to fit all the gauges from the Leaf, put the double din nicely right here. Get rid of all the ashtrays. I don't think the girls need the ashtrays. Usually there's ashtrays in the back of the seats or in the armrests here. This is a 216 GM motor, inline 6. It puts out 90 horsepower. Torque is like 150, I believe, something like this. I think the guy that we got it off of got the car in 1962. It was never on the road then. I don't know how long it was sitting before that. But he took this engine out and he had this one rebuilt. On the side, there's a tag that said it was rebuilt in 1967. It is just a dead weight to me, so she's going off to B&R, which is really sad because I think he spent a couple thousand on, or a few thousand on it, rebuilding this. Behind it is a 2-speed Power Glide, but somebody has switched that because this year never came with an automatic transmission. It was still a 3 on the tree, which is why they were so difficult to drive. First thing we're gonna do is rip all that out because we're gonna get all of this sandblasted while it's still on the frame, so it's still kind of rigid. We'll take all these panels off, get them blasted at the same time, and then put it on the rotisserie. We'll weld some jibs in there. We're going to fix the rockers, make it nice and stiff, and then we're gonna put it on the rotisserie and cut the floor out. So this is probably a week in, spraying everything. You can see there's still lots on there, but might as well add some more. Who knows? I think a bunch of them are freeing up, except the latches. I think these are still seized, but it did. That happened. It spun there really nice, but the latch themselves, right now, I don't want to bend it and snap it here. I'm gonna have to add a little bit of heat to that, but I'll just keep. Sandblasting is in 1 week. You can see, giving it the odd wiggle here. And these are starting to move. I don't think this top has been up since 60. I was parked before 1962. I think he had it for about a decade. The previous owner, before the guy I bought it off of got it. We are truly 50, 60 years since this thing has done anything.
See about those latches, but so far, so good. See, we can get some windows rolling up and down. Careful, Beck. So I debated on weighing the car just to see what we had before we started. It doesn't really make much sense because there's no rad in it, no coolant. A bunch of pieces are missing on it. There's really no interior to speak of. So it makes more sense to weigh what we take off and figure out roughly from there. Originally it's 3,100 pounds. According to the internet, just the batteries weigh 678 pounds. So that's quite a bit of extra weight that we're adding. So I'm gonna roll it inside. It's a beautiful day. So we'll do it right here. Here we go. Seriously, Duck? Seriously? Ready? What do you want, Pepper? I got nothing for you. Then there's not for like hours. Literally hours. Go do something. All right. Just fell through the floor. Moment of truth. Does the convertible top work? That is pretty sick. A little stiff. A little stiff. That is sick. Awesome. That is the first time that that top has been up in 50, what is it, I'm gonna say 1960, so 40, 60 years. First time that top's been up. And she's not in that terrible of a shape. I'm gonna pull this chrome molding off because that is not going to fare well. We'll vacuum all this crap out. I can give this to somebody for a template. That's what's left of the top. We got a zipper, maybe we can reuse that. Can you picture it? Can you picture it at all? Oh, man. It's the simple things in life. That is so cool. And it looks like everything's okay. There's enough meat here. There's enough meat everywhere. I'm not sure, this will probably just be stuck in the cloth. That wood will have to be replaced, but overall, that's not bad. I'm okay with that. It lines up nice. Some gaps are nice. You guys know I love my gaps. That's where I fell through the floor. The hydraulic lines didn't stop me. Super embarrassing. But what is really cool about this is that it is a power top. So a little 12-volt pump, and that whole thing comes on its own. Super sweet for 1948. All right, we'll yank the engine out and then take these covers off. One stubborn bolt right there that's rotten on both sides, and then we'll start pulling the last of the chrome off, which is just slow, tedious, painful work. This is banged up pretty good, so we'll have to see what we do with that. I might still have some other trim. Otherwise, if you are going to do this to your car, now's the time to polish this. You just take your, we've got videos on polishing the chrome on, it's a stainless, on the 48 4-door. But when it's all in place and held nice and solid, you can really get into it with the grinder, buff it really nice, and then pull it off. We might do that, pop it back on again before we paint or primer or do a pile of work to it, and then take it off again one more time after that. But all right, some tedious work. We'll line this all up for the sandblaster, and then we are good to go. Stupid duck, it just craps everywhere. Yeah, hey Rich, what's up? What's up, Rich? I want to crap where you're working, is that all right? Is that okay? We love you anyway.
Camera shy? If you're camera shy, then go away. Go away, duck. Go away. Go away.
All right, now for all the money. Is it? Oh, oh. There she is, boys. Worked, except I'm missing his lats, so hopefully they've got that. Oh, that one's still a little tight. But it's not bad, doesn't even squeak. It's a bit tight. There we go. Nice. There we go. I think that's it. Nope. I can't do it by hand. Oh, but it did spin really easy this way now, so we'll take it out and throw it in the vise, and I'm sure that we can crack it loose. Sweet. I'm still gonna let them hit it with the sandblaster because we'll probably end up painting these, or we'll have to get them re-chromed. No more yanking to do. Grab a garbage pail, throw all this stuff out. Ay, ay, ay. All right, so it looks like the rubber is in pieces that goes into your trim there. This must have been baked in the sun because it is tough. And then on top of that are little screws that hold that chrome trim on. So get it all, and that's just screwed into the wooden block. And that is some good wood. Still kicking. Man, crazy. 70 years. Here we go. That's the profile I need if I need to order it later. These ones here are a bit of a bugger because I cracked them loose, but now the rust underneath is being a bitch. That's where these straws come in really handy. You kind of go in whatever at an angle that you can't actually get at. The other side. A little bit of lube goes a long way. Just don't loosen all at once. Never noticed this before, so before I wipe it, what is the date on that? I just can't read it. That's too bad. It's a good sticker though. That will get sandblasted off. All right, today's a good day because we're gonna blast the. It could be a good day or it could be a really bad day. Depends. We're here with Chris from CNC Dustless Media Blasting. We've done lots of sandblasting. This is media blasting, much better, right?
Right. We use recycled glass, less heat, less friction, less mess.
The biggest thing is like big panels, especially the hood and the doors and stuff, where if it gets too hot, it'll warp the. It looks great when you leave, but when it goes to the paint shop, they're like, "What the?"
Yeah, it creates warping because of the heat and stuff. Yeah, so
Okay.
that's where the glass is starting to become a new thing of environmentally friendly as well too. Some of the sand, and there's more variances in glass of what you can get, coarseness and more fine and stuff like that. So we find we like using the glass.
What's the machine you use?
DB800, company out of Texas. Their name is Dustless Blasting, dry and wet blasting. So the machine's designed to use any type of media as well. Now, we could run soda, we could run walnuts, we could run the different types of media, where we find the glass just to be very versatile. It's got a 4-cylinder turbo diesel Kohler engine in it with a heck of a lot of electronics. Not the cleanest because obviously it sits in the dust and everything else. For being quiet, for us to go into residential neighborhoods.
All you hear is the hose, probably.
Yeah,
right?
we've been happy with it and everything else. It would have been nice if it didn't have quite as many electronics on it. But, it is what it is.
Yeah, when she goes, we can throw a 6PT.
Yeah, it is what it is. Used to take two guys, one guy to lift the bag up, another guy to slit it. So screw it, we welded this thing in here and sharpened it up.
Yeah, perfect.
Like some knives, and then you just slam the bag on there and out.
Yeah, done. So how did it turn out?
It turned out good, for what the car is and stuff. Now you definitely know where you're at. Obviously, you can see where the bad spots are and the good spots and stuff.
So the fender bolts right to the bottom, and they hold moisture here. So I knew that this was all rotten on both sides, but this is a bit of a surprise. I didn't look hard enough here. I think this whole section's been replaced. Maybe a little fender bender.
Yeah. So when we go to do a car, it's kind of, everybody takes the gamble of what it's truly going to be. There's a lot of stuff hid on these old vehicles, and usually we find a lot of surprises that most of the people don't even know is there. So sometimes you run the risk of ending up with a cheese grater, or sometimes you might be surprised. But this is the idea, is to get it to, so now you exactly know, you know what I mean? There's no surprises.
I did a 67 GTO and a 4-door version of this car, and both of them were a lot worse than this car.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really happy. I'm wondering what I'm going to do here, because this is its own profile, and I think this is even different than the normal fleet line. So you can't buy, there's no parts car anywhere that's got this where I can weld it in, and I might be able to just clean it up, but that's neither here and there. But all the NOS parts. They're awesome. Prime them, and
the trunk was that bottom of that trunk is the only major thing.
Yeah.
Everything else held up.
I'm super thrilled. The rad support and everything. Not that's holding a radiator anymore, but the fenders kind of bolt to it and stuff. So the hood turned out nice, and that's awesome. Right on. Well, thanks a lot, Chris.
Alrighty, thank you.
We might get you back. Maybe when we weld the floor in and do a bunch of cleanup, we might even just get you to touch up parts. That'll probably end up being on a rotisserie by then.
Sounds
But,
good.
yeah.
Next time I shouldn't get lost and take an extra hour to get here.
It's all good. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
Alrighty, thank you.